Of course, it's something lots of people grapple with because they're grief-stricken and maybe they feel guilty and maybe they feel it's not the right moment and maybe they've got children to take into account. But were you able to find happiness again after losing your soulmate? I'd love to hear from you on that one. Or maybe other people judged you and thought it was too soon. Or maybe you just feel that you found your person and you don't want to move on. You just don't feel you'll ever find the right person out there for you. 0207 862 2222. Well, of course I'm going to ask you about this. I hope you don't feel it's too soon and it's insensitive. I'm sorry if you do.
Not at all. I think it's a very good question. Strangely, when Johnny was alive, towards the end, he was saying, darling, you must find somebody else. Oh, you have my blessing. And I was just going, there is absolutely no way, Johnny, I would ever want to be with somebody again. And I certainly wouldn't marry again. I think that in terms of how long do you take, I'm still working stuff out. So, and I'm sure that there's that figure of a year that people talk about. Don't take any big decisions for a year. And I'm sure your
When you say, Tiggy, I'm working things out,
well,
what sort of things are you thinking about?
Well, I've got a very individual case in that I wrote a book about Johnny as soon as his funeral was over. I started writing the second part of the book. And so I've been very involved with him. I felt very close to Johnny all year. I've been writing this book to him. I've been touring with the book and doing publicity. It's been huge, actually, doing this, but it's kept him close.
Yes.
So in a way, I felt Johnny has been with me all of this year. Now, clearly, patently, he isn't with me. So I only feel that when I sort of put the book down and stop doing any publicity, that I will actually really then have to face the fact that Johnny has gone. So for me, I'm definitely not ready. I'm sure I'm still vulnerable.
I wonder if there's what it's like if your partner is famous and very high profile and everybody loves him, whether no one will ever let you move on, whether people will keep talking about him to you forever and ever and ever because we all adored him so much.
Yes, well, I think from that aspect, I think for me, I just could not go out with a Johnny Walker fan because all they'd want to do is talk about Johnny and what was his favourite single and who was his favourite band, and I would be unutterably unengaged and bored.
I get it.
So I think I'm going to have to go to Europe or something like that. But that's just me speaking. But
do you feel as though you could imagine yourself having the appetite for finding somebody?
I think that I am young enough to have another chapter. And Johnny felt so, and I didn't for months. But I think now it would be... It was very... there was a lot of difficult times with Johnny, and almost, I feel if there was such a thing as karma, it would be lovely to have a trouble-free, fun relationship with no illness in it. You know, nothing heavy or committed, but it'd be fun, wouldn't it, to feel that excitement
when
again.
When you meet him, will you introduce me to his brother, please? Because I think that would be fantastic. I mean, Ian, you've had a very personal experience of this. Yeah. This is not just a discussion for you.
No, I got married in June '96, and 10 weeks later, my wife had an enormous stroke, and her life changed overnight. She couldn't dress herself, feed herself, bath herself.
We can see
totally dependent on nurses. She wanted to live in Spain. I bought a home there and I used to fly over once a month. And I felt that my grieving started then. Her life was just, it was a litany of illnesses. And then she got dementia. She became bedridden the last 10 years of her life. And I was fortunate enough to meet a girl who I've subsequently married, Laura. And she came over to see my wife with my sister's friend. And so she could understand I wasn't jetting off. It was just to see my wife. And when my wife died in 2022, it was a bittersweet moment. Her suffering had gone, but I felt a weight off my shoulders. I got married in May of that year, and people say, why? Well, I missed the aggravation, I think. So, yeah, you know, I was very fortunate. I loved my wife, and I loved my current wife. And my wife said to me, well, how can you love two people? And I said, well, how many children you got? Yeah. She's got 2 children, And that's how you love two people. You can, but everybody grieves differently. I felt that I'd grieve during her lifetime. I really did.
I mean, that was a long, odyssey of a story that you went through. Do you think that though that people can be quite quick to judge these things?
Yes.
People like, are you not grieving? Have you not
Yes.
lost somebody? Well, who is that you're with? Why are you with somebody so soon? How can you be? People do judge other people, don't they?
No one walked in my shoes, looked through my eyes, and it was okay by me, and it was okay by Jenny, my late wife. We discussed it. We discussed it. I met her, my current wife Laura, in 2007, and she was never a dirty secret. I'd socialise with her, and in fact, one of the things we used to do, I would speak to my late wife maybe 8 times a day.
I remember it. I remember her phoning when I was with you.
And we'd be out for dinner with people who didn't know, and Laura would say, "Oh, don't worry, he's just talking to his wife." And you saw that, it was almost a party trick we did. But there's no right and wrong at what feels best for you. I felt
right. Well, let's go to the phones, because we've got I'm not surprised, but lots of calls on this. So let's start with Valerie in Wiltshire. Valerie, did you feel that it was appropriate to wait a certain length of time after you were widowed?
No, I just was determined that I would never meet or marry again. I was so happily married the first time, and I was grief-stricken for a long time, and I was on my own for about 14 years, and I had to move because I had to be near my daughter who was ill, and I thought I'd just go to the village church, walked in and met the vicar, and we started going out, and I married him.
No way! You married the vicar? Oh my, this is probably one of the best calls of my entire life. I've never had such a great call. Valerie, you just looked at the vicar and you fancied him?
Well, I did.
Wow! Was it the dog collar? Was that what you liked?
I think it must be.
Oh my God! and the vicar obviously totally fancied you. I just can't. That's the Almighty intervening here. It must have been God.
Divine intervention, I feel.
Completely. Wow. Yes. How long did it take for you two to sort of realise you were an item and everything?
About 3 weeks.
Oh, what did the congregation say? Hallelujah.
Yes. I think because they liked him so much, I think they wanted to see him happy, and we've been so happy. He's wonderful. He's wonderful with my children and grandchildren, and I can't be happier. And I had no intention of meeting anybody else.
What a wonderful, blessed story. Honestly, Tiggy, isn't that lovely?
Yes, it's beautiful, because I think you actually have to leave it to fate.
Yeah. Do you think so?
Oh, I definitely
can't search for it?
Oh, no, I would never search for it.
You wouldn't search?
No way.
Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. Actively walking up and down with a sandwich board. Maybe I should stop doing that. I think I have to take that off this afternoon. Let's go to Steve in Essex. Steve, your late wife gave you permission. She wanted you to move on with somebody else in the end.
That's right. Yes, Vanessa, she did. Yeah. When she said that a couple of times prior to her passing, and each time I just broke down and said, "Look, I don't want anybody else but you." Yeah. We've been together 35 years. She passed at the start of the year, and she had pulmonary hypertension for about 10 years prior to that, and I knew the inevitable, but nothing ever prepares you for it. She was the most wonderful person. She was a showgirl, a Las Vegas showgirl and model. She had the personality to match, and she just kept going the whole time. Wherever she went, she was always the centre of attention. She was constantly on stage.
What was her name, Steve? What's her name?
Penny Sears. Yeah.
And
Penny Sears. You'll find her online. Yeah.
And so she passed away at the beginning of this year, did she?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she did. Yeah, and she still had all her extensions in her makeup at the age of 67. The Colchester United football team came in to see her. They knew everybody sort of wanted to see her, when she was in the local paper.
She was so beautiful and so glamorous. She must have been the most incredible person to spend your life with. Wow.
She was. I was so lucky. So lucky. I mean, I was just a gardener on a caravan camp.
Seriously?
And, really. Yeah, she could have had anybody. She sort of dated one of the Ford brothers at one point. in the late
God,
70s.
how did you pluck up the nerve to even approach somebody so
Well,
gorgeous?
I just met her in a nightclub in Clacton-on-Sea in Essex. I just walked up to her, she smiled at me, and then the rest was history.
Gosh.
But obviously it's an unbelievable void to fill. And I've dated since, but I really can't find anybody to compare. I shouldn't be comparing anybody, but halfway through a date, sometimes I just.
Tim, put the camera on Tiggy's face, because she's the person responding to this.
Well, because how can you follow Johnny Walker? It's very hard if you've had somebody really dynamic and amazing in your life. They're big shoes to fill.
And how do you follow a glamorous, gorgeous,
I know,
Las Vegas showgirl? I mean, on the other hand, I suppose it can be something very different about them.
Yeah.
You can suddenly find, is that right, Ian, the person you find yourself attracted to, maybe a totally different kind of person?
I mean, there's a lot of similarities between Laura and my late wife, Jenny. But again, I came out my office, turned left, and our eyes caught each other, and that was the start of a.
Well, I heard that Laura wolf whistled at you.
No, she can't.
And I know Laura, she's one of my best friends, so I know it's true. She will. She's exactly what she means. Chutzpah is the word for her. That's her. Let's talk to Irene in Greater Manchester. Irene, how did you find love again?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
My husband I was with him for 40 years, 44, but only married for 40 years.
Right.
And then he became poorly, and I nursed him for 7 months. But I was lucky, I was able to keep my job for 2 days a week.
Right.
And the chap that I'm with now, Ken, he worked with me, but the strange thing was we never actually spoke while we were at work. We used to both go outside for a cigarette, and we used to walk in. I never spoke to him. And it was only about 15 months later he asked me out, and he said he decided a year before that he was going to ask this lady out.
Gosh.
And he did. He waited 15 months. Wow. And he asked me out, and we're still together.
When he asked you out, Irene, were you surprised? I mean, did you think, what's he asking me out for? We never even speak. Or did you think, yes, I secretly have liked you all along? What did you think?
This is it. I don't know how I felt, because I spoke to everyone else at work. This is the odd thing. And yet I never approached Ken.
Right.
And then suddenly his brother died, and I put my arms round him and I said, I am so sorry, Ken, about your brother.
Oh.
And then it was only about 2 months after that he did ask me out.
And he'd really liked you all that time. He'd really been, he'd been hungering for you all that time, Irene. My gosh.
But we are still together, but it was only 15 months after my husband died, and I felt guilty. I was worried about telling my boys, because, they were still grieving, really grieving, because they'd worked with the dad. They're both all bricklayers. They'd all worked together.
And has that worked out all right now? Has that panned out okay?
Absolutely. It's the complete opposite to my husband.
Wow.
My husband was a bit controlling, didn't have a great sense of humour, but a wonderful man, wonderful dad. Oh, no, he really was.
I love didn't have a great sense of humour, but a wonderful man. You're lovely, Irene, and you deserve as much happiness as you've got with the wonderful Ken. Thank you so much.